Hey there, I'm Tyler and welcome back to the channel. After a few minutes today, you will be able to make any size custom drawer that you want. I have made a lot of drawers in my time. Yes, there are simpler ways of fabricating the drawers, but this is what I have come up with for pre-finished plywood like I have right here to build a drawer that will last forever.
As mentioned, there are easier ways to build drawers, but this is a necessary way to remove the pre-finished on this plywood. Take your measurements of the width and the height and we'll be ready to go.
Right now we're looking at the side of this drawer, and I just want to point out the way that the joinery is done here. You want to do it this way so that you hide the rough edge joint with the drawer front right here, and all you see is the nice finished plywood on this drawer when you pull it out. Regardless of the size, you always want the sides of your drawers to be a pure sheet of wood, so no end joints.
My favorite types of drawer slides are these full extension metal slides, and they require a 1/2 inch per slide of clearance. So we need to account for 1 inch of clearance total when we're taking into account the measurements for our drawers. We will be removing material for good glue adhesion, and we want to remove, in this case for 1/2 inch plywood, 3/16 on either side. So make sure you take that into account. If you use thicker plywood like 3/4 of an inch, you can take off a 1/4 inch without risking any strength of the plywood. But for the 1/2 inch, we only want to remove 3/16 of an inch. I'm going to be using the table saw with a combination rip crosscut blade to cut everything down to the proper width. This is going to be the bases of the drawers and the sides of the drawers. Once that is all done, we can move over to the miter saw station and use the stop block for repeatable cuts. I do have a high tooth blade on this miter saw, but I would recommend some zero clearance tape. As you can see right there, the yellow strip of tape on my rigid miter saw is a addition on there to allow zero clearance cuts. Very, very cheap and inexpensive. There is a link to that tape down in the description below. My preferred method of cutting rabbets or dados is using the table saw, so I'm changing out my combination blade over to the dado stack. You can use the router, but it does make quite the mess, so my preferred method is the table saw.
We're going to be using dados to assemble these drawers. Couple reasons for that. This is pre-finished plywood, and most glues, at least the glues I have, do not stick well to the finish on here, so we won't get the most structurally sound drawer unless we get rid of that finish. So an easy way to do that is to use the table saw with a dado blade to dado everything so that we have a nice raw piece of wood to glue everything together. Now we need 1/2 inch dados that are 3/16 of an inch deep. This is just my setup for these drawers. You can obviously adjust it to any size drawer that you want. And I actually need my fence to go over the blade a little bit. Now obviously I don't want to cut up the fence, so I'm going to put up a sacrificial piece of wood so that I can actually go over the blade and make sure I get the perfect size dado. First pass, our dado looks actually quite fantastic right there at 3/16 of an inch deep. Yep. And then it looks like I could back the fence off just a smidgen. We want to make sure it's nice and smooth on the side of the dado there.
We are going to be doing an inset base on these drawers, so we want to make sure for the sides of the drawers, the portion that you'll see a complete finished side like we mentioned at the beginning of the video, we want to make sure that there is a rabbet on 3 sides, that is the blue part, and then the gray part, which is the front and the back, we only need the rabbet or dado on the bottom. Now, I am going to be using a power feeder. This is a totally unnecessary piece of equipment for this, but it is awesome because it holds constant pressure down over the dado blade. So if you're using your hand and you remove your push stick, you might have a little bit of bow in that board and it is not going to give you the full cut depth of that blade. Assembly is very straightforward. We're going to be using some wood glue and some pin nails for quick assembly. As you can see in this build sequence, I am building all different sizes and types of drawers, and this methodology is very simple to repeat on a large scale and allows for great quick assembly, as the base portion of the drawer will square everything up when you inset it into that rabbet. Awesome way to go, and I did about 15 drawers in a couple of hours for the kitchen and for a friend. No big deal. After all your drawers are assembled, you obviously will want to install them somewhere. Again, I like the full extension, full metal drawer slides, and they go in super easy with various different full extension drawer slide jigs. This one happens to be from Rockler. There is a link down in the description below to this one, but there are offerings from Craig that work just as well. These are soft close drawer slides, and they are awesome to work with. When installing a bunch of different drawers, I actually like to make sure my measurements are good and then install the portion onto the drawer, or tray in this case, out of the cabinet, as it's much easier and you don't have to hold anything up. Once you get it right and you get a universal measurement, it goes in super easy and much faster than trying to work with only 2 hands when you actually need something like 3 or 4.
Well, there we are, bunches and bunches of drawers and trays made for the new kitchen up north, and I hope that helps some of you guys out so you can make any kind of drawer that you want. If it did, please hammer that thumbs up button and check out the link down in the description below for some of our sweet merch, spray finish or don't do it at all, such a sweet hoodie. There is some discounts going on right now if you're watching in November of 2020, so check that out. Definitely make sure you subscribe and ring that bell, because we got some awesome videos coming up where we finish up this kitchen up north. Epoxy countertops coming up, going to be awesome. I'm DIYTyler, and you guys have a good one.